Patrol car and just go riding. The only car that you can take out on your own is going to be a mission patrol car or a contraband car. Those are, the in-game mission cars where the car is spawned by the game. So you just go into that little circle, you press your patrol, the game will automatically spawn you a car. You just go down to floor 0, and there'll be a little red marker over it, and that is the car that you could take out by yourself. No one else is allowed in that car, only you. However, when you are out on those mission patrols, your duties are to finish those mission patrols or the contrabands. If you see a another unit pulling over a vehicle, just drive right by it. Don't, you could tell them hi or whatnot. The officers, you can call in, if you see something happening, shooting or anything like that, you can call in on the radio. Hey, shots fired near harbor, gun store, whatnot. And however, you continue your patrols. You're not allowed to stop, help out, or do any of that, to that nature. However, you can go out with vested officers and suited officers on 10-12s, which are active patrols. So that means you pretty much go out with the officer, depending on what the officer gets into or what you get into. It's going to be pretty much from pullovers to be calling out, call outs to other scenes and stuff like that. At that time, you are not allowed to talk to anybody besides the officer you're riding with. You're not allowed to get out of the vehicle and make any arrests or anything like that. You cannot use any kind of force, verbal or lethal. The only one, like I said, you could talk to is your partner. Now, if you're getting shot and your partner gets out to return fire, you're pretty much going to sit there. You cannot get out, like I said, and you cannot draw your weapon and shoot back. If the individual starts shooting you, you're going to just have to take that loss and die on the scene as well. If your partner gets out, and tases and runs away, with the individual on a foot pursuit, you still have to stay in your car. You cannot get out. If you get on the radio and you can't hear them, and you get on the radio, you're talking to them on the radio or Flobby, and you cannot get a hold of these individuals, your partner, go ahead and hit /respawn, and it will bring you back here to the infirmary thing. But just however, you are not allowed to drive that squad car back. So if your partner dies, do not drive the squad car back, because then people will think you're out there riding by yourself, and it could lead to a dismissal, because one rep is a dismissal as an unbadged officer. So another time that you can go out by yourself is in your own personal car. That car has to have the dark limo tint, so when you're driving around, no one can see who you are and identify you as a police officer, and we don't want you to be targeted. And that car can only be spawned out when you're doing events like admin events or PD events. events. During the admin events, you have to ask a suited officer, hey, can I go to this admin event? Most likely, we're going to tell you yes, take your personal vehicle. If it's during hiring time, we're most likely going to tell you no, unless we are, full with staff and everybody's, got something to do, and we might have another couple bystanders. We will tell you, yeah, it's okay during hiring event that you can go. But always remember to ask a suited officer. When we do the PD events, sometimes, half of us take cars and half of us take, patrol cars. And the reason for that is because when we're holding events like Squash the Beef or anything like that, it's a community event, and there's always going to be somebody that wants to try and ruin it. So some of us take, those cars to catch those individuals, because we cannot bring anybody back in our personal car. So when you're on 10-6s is another that you can take your personal car, which is kind of like you're busy, you're going to do personal things like upgrade your car, change your car specs, things to that, like, putting new rims on, or maybe going to pay rent if you're renting a place, or maybe you're going to go buy something from Hands or trade, things to that. But you have to ask a suit, and a suit will tell you to either go with the vest or another suit. So on your 10-6s, you'll always have somebody to ride with. So yeah, and then another thing we're going to talk about is gang affiliation. You are not allowed to ride with any non-PD members. You cannot hang out with any non-PD members, anywhere at any time. They cannot come here to hang out with you, and you cannot go to their house and hang out with you, to hang out with them. Only time you could be with a non-PD member is if you're conducting business at Hands or at the trade center, and at that time you're still going to have an officer with you, because that will be pretty much your 10-6. You'll be busy, trading or doing whatever. The only time that you could ride with, one of those non-PD members is if you're in Hands and you're buying the vehicle right away. If you're in Hands and you want to go test drive that vehicle before you buy it, or they want to test drive yours before they buy yours, either have them give you the keys or you give them the keys, and then you guys can take those cars out to test drive. However, they cannot test drive the car with you, and you cannot test drive the car with them. If you're caught riding around, with a gang member, we will assume, or any kind of affiliation with the other families, we're gonna assume that you're probably part of them, and you could it'll be an automatic dismissal. However, if you're riding around and you see one individual in a car, that could be a suit, such as Agent Sky back there, myself, Victoria, or any other high-powered suits. We're the only ones that can go on our own, out in our own vehicles. We're there to supervise or to show up to calls as well. So yeah, just be careful about who you hang out with too. Don't get caught up in all the drama with all the dancing and just talking and staying on floor 1 and floor 0, things to that. We don't mind if you do a little bit of gossip, but if it's an everyday thing, it could be a problem, because other people are starting to have to put in more work to make up for your work. The same as, you're out there working and we're pulling someone in, and all they want to do is just stand around and talk, and not helping you whatsoever. We're gonna, we'll get rid of those people, because, what are they good for if they're just gonna stand around?
വിയറ്റ്നാമിലെ
But
പോലെ
all right, I know
കച്ചവടക്കാർക്കിടയിലൂടെ
that was a
ട്രെയിൻ
lot.
പോകുന്നത് കാണാം.
That's pretty much everything I
പക്ഷേ
have. Do
ഇയാൾ
you have
എന്തിനാണ്
any
ട്രെയിനിന് നേരെ
questions?
കത്തിയും ചൂണ്ടി നിൽക്കുന്നതെന്നറിയാമോ?
No, actually, but before
മുന്തിരിയിലെങ്ങാനും
getting
തൊട്ടാൽ
my batch,
തൊട്ടവന്റെ കൈ വെട്ടാൻ
what
റെഡി
place is
ആയിട്ടാണ്
where
നിൽപ്പ്.
exactly? Ground floor or
എന്ന്
first
വെച്ചാ
floor?
പാവത്തിന്റെ കടയിൽ നിന്ന് ആരൊക്കെയോ മുന്നേ അടിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് പോയി കാണും.
So
വിയറ്റ്നാമിലെ പോലെ
right now you'll be
കച്ചവടക്കാർക്കിടയിലൂടെ
unbatched,
ട്രെയിൻ
so
പോകുന്നത്
you'll be able
കാണാം.
to work first floor
പക്ഷേ
inside
ഇയാൾ
that
എന്തിനാണ്
room
ട്രെയിനിന് നേരെ
in
കത്തിയും
the
ചൂണ്ടി
front,
നിൽക്കുന്നതെന്നറിയാമോ?
or you could go on 1012s with other
സ്വിറ്റ്സർലാൻഡിൽ
officers. You just
ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന
cannot get
ആസ്ട്ര
out of the
ബ്രിഡ്ജിനെ കുറിച്ച്
vehicle,
കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ?
and then also you can do your mission
അതായത്
patrols.
എവിടെയെങ്കിലും റോഡ്
But
ടാറിങ്ങോ
before we do all
മെയിൻ്റെനൻസ്
that, we
പണികളോ
have to get your
ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ
phase 1
ഗതാഗത
training before you
കുരുക്കുണ്ടാക്കാതെ
could even
നൈസായിട്ട് ഒരു
leave the
ഫ്ലൈ ഓവർ
building.
അങ്ങ് വെച്ചു കൊടുക്കും.
Because
സോ പണികൾ
in
ഗംഭീരമായി
other
താഴത്ത്
server,
നടക്കുകയും
release
ചെയ്യും,
or
വാഹനങ്ങൾക്ക്
place
മുകളിലൂടെ
was,
പോവുകയും ചെയ്യാം.
floor 0.
ഈ ബ്രിഡ്ജിന്
So,
വീലുകളുണ്ട്,
tell us not
അത്
to move
ഉരുട്ടിയാണ്
from floor
ഒരു
0
സ്ഥലത്ത്
until
നിന്ന്
we get
മറ്റൊരു
our
സ്ഥലത്തേക്ക്
batch
ചലിപ്പിക്കുന്നത്.
So here it's different. We have to stay in
സ്വിറ്റ്സർലാൻഡിൽ
floor 1.
ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന ആസ്ട്ര
So that's
ബ്രിഡ്ജിനെ
why
കുറിച്ച്
I asked.
കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ?
Oh yeah.
ഈ
Yeah, no.
ഓട്ടോറിക്ഷയിലാണ്
As an unbadged,
പാചകവാതക
you
LPG
can go
അടിച്ചു
from
കയറ്റുന്നത്.
floor 0 to
സംഭവം
floor
LPG
1.
ലോടുന്ന
You're
വാഹനങ്ങളുണ്ടെങ്കിലും
able
അത്
to do that.
വീട്ടിൽ
We
ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന
used
ഇതുപോലത്തെ
to not
സിലിണ്ടർ
let
LPG-കളല്ല. ഇന്ത്യൻ ഓയിൽ
unbadges
അവതരിപ്പിക്കുന്ന
on floor
പ്രൊപ്പൈൻ
1
റേഷ്യോ കൂടിയ
at
പ്രത്യേക
all.
ഓട്ടോ ഗ്യാസ് എന്ന
But so far we're
പേരുള്ളവയാണ്.
trying something
ചെയ്യുന്നതൊക്കെ
new.
പക്ക ഇല്ലീഗലാണ്.
We want you guys to learn how to interact with individuals in the polite, proper way. That way, when you do get your badge and you're out in the streets, you might know somebody out there. You know what I mean? Not necessarily, friend to friend, but hey, I talked to you inside PD. How's it going? Things like that.
ചേഞ്ച് ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴായിരിക്കും.
Okay,
അടുത്ത
and
ഫീച്ചറാണ്
floor
ബ്രേക്ക്
1,
ഒന്ന് അമർത്തി ചവിട്ടിയാൽ ഡോർ അടയുന്നത്. പവർ വിൻഡോ എന്നതുപോലെ ഇതിനെ
It's
പവർ
the
ഡോർ
ones
എന്ന്
right
വിളിക്കും.
across from the elevators.
Audi
So
Q7
you'll kind of turn
ഇനി
like you're
രാജസ്ഥാൻ
going
type
back towards the
കണ്ടിട്ട്
jail
എവിടെയോ
cell,
എന്തോ ഒരു
but then you'll
തകരാറില്ലേ?
make that first right, and
അതെ,
it'll be the first
ലൈലാൻഡോ
double
ടാറ്റയോ
doors.
ആവുമെന്ന് വിചാരിച്ച് തിരുമോന്ത് നോക്കിയപ്പോ വമ്പൻ ട്വിസ്റ്റ്. അതൊരു ട്രാക്ടർ ആയിരുന്നു. ഇത്തരം ക്രിയേറ്റീവ് ഐഡിയകൾ എന്തുകൊണ്ട് നമുക്ക് തോന്നിയില്ല?
send themselves to jail.
Yes,
കണ്ടിട്ട്
exactly.
എവിടെയോ എന്തോ ഒരു
Yes, sir.
തകരാർ. ഹ്യുണ്ടായി എന്തോ മത്സരത്തിലാണെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു. ഏറ്റവും വൃത്തികെട്ട ഡിസൈൻ ചെയ്യുന്ന എംപ്ലോയിക്ക് പ്രൊമോഷൻ. കാരണം വെർണയ്ക്ക് ശേഷം അവതരിപ്പിക്കുന്നു പുതിയ
And any other questions for me today, sir?
എന്താ അറിയുന്ന ഊക്ക മാത്രം അറിയാം.
നിലവിലുള്ള ജെൻ 3 i20 തന്നെ നല്ലൊരു സമയമെടുത്താണ് ആളുകൾ ഇഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടു തുടങ്ങിയത്. അപ്പൊ തന്നെ 4th ജെൻ കൊണ്ടുവന്ന് അതങ്ങ് തൊലച്ചു.
പുറത്തേക്ക് ഇറങ്ങാൻ പറ്റണില്ല, അത്രക്ക് അടിച്ച് കിടക്കുകയാണ്.
1 ലിറ്റർ നാച്ചുറലി ആസ്പിറേറ്റഡും 1 ലിറ്റർ
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so congratulations on passing your second interview. Back then, we used to never be able to shake hands. So our old tradition was tasing people. So whenever you get a rank up or you see any of your other fellow officers get a rank up and you feel like you want to congratulate them, that is called a congratulation tase. However, if you do the
Taser training. I already did it once with one of the generals when I got hired, but I want to practice more on my tasing.